So I have some tapes that show you how to make the mesenteric artery, superior mesenteric, and how to do this bifurcation in the celiac trunk. So once you make one of these arteries, it's very similar in each case. What we're looking for is a nice, if you will, base to create the 3 branches. So we might take this one, scale it a little bigger, and extrude it. This way and maybe that way. Now I'm not worried about extruding over and over again, just extruding to its full length. So what I can do is I can come here in the divisions. This box appeared when I said extrude. So I'm going to put my mouse where the number is. With the middle mouse button, I'm increasing the divisions. So now I have 4 divisions. What I can do with that is that will let me modify the position. If I don't like that angle, I can go say, well, maybe I should do this with maybe the component. And now I can get that more feeling like a brachiocephalic trunk. Want to be careful again, you don't pinch it, so you're starting to turn and you have to go back to these edges and rotate them a little bit to support that kind of subtle transition. So that's the brachiocephalic. Now, if I go to 3, you can see it looks okay, but of course the problem is the end doesn't look like a vessel. So I'm going to make it look like a cut edge or a vessel. What I'm going to do is grab that face at the end, turn off the soft select, and I'm going to extrude it. First thing I'm going to do is just scale it smaller. It's pretty thick since it's at that point. And then I'm going to hit the letter G, which means repeat the last operation, so it's extruding it a second time. Oops. I'm not trying to get that move. Oops. Trying to get the arrow, the blue arrow in there to move this or drive it back down into the So I'll drive that over there, drive it into there. I want to make sure I'm not poking out any other. Let's get this out of the way for a second. Yeah, it came through over here, so I need to. The other thing I'll do to cheat even further maybe is rotate a little bit, and maybe scale it a little smaller. That'll make it less likely to poke out. Okay. Put on 3. It looks okay, except it doesn't hold the thickness, right? Because this wall we made, the next face is way down here, so it's got a big area for it to subdivide and smooth it, or use preview to smooth. So a way of dealing with that is I can leave it. Let's go get show the polygon here from the front view. A little closer. Maybe change this to the lateral view for a second. So what I'm going to do is drop that plane. I'm going to pick up the multi-cut tool. Okay, object. get the multi-cut tool, and I'm going to just drag it. So let's see what it did. Oh, it didn't do what I wanted to do at all. It went diagonally across it. That's no good. We can do it maybe just as easy using the insert edge loop. So I'll do one on the outside and then one on the inside. But now when I preview, you notice the vessel has a thickness, and I can even exaggerate that thickness by scaling it and moving the edge even closer. So again, the software has less smaller area to divide it. Okay. Well, that method would be the same thing that I would do, let's say, for any of the vessels. So when we do the common carotid, I might come over here, and there's a diagram on your instructions to talk about getting that common carotid and the subclavian. And I think what I actually end up doing is putting an extra face here just so I can get a little closer. And the thing to remember is the brachiocephalic is a little anterior, so these other two vessels, the common carotid and subclavian, will be coming off, and they'll actually be hidden a little bit behind the brachiocephalic. The other thing to remember is the brachiocephalic is what its name implies, brachium and cephalic, so it's actually both the head and arm, and as a result it does have, it needs to be twice as large, or it needs to be the sum of the two vessels you make here. So the common carotid and the subclavian, their diameter, when added together, would equal approximately the diameter of just the brachiocephalic. That makes sense because it's got to be, the mass, it's got to be big enough to be divided in half. Okay? So that will be the start of our vessel pattern. And again, you can grab these faces and using the soft select, include more or less faces and change how you want this to look. Okay. Around. There you go. Yeah, this kind of gets a little kink right here. See that edge. Maybe rotate a little more so you get a little more even spacing there. All right, so that's the end of the aorta.